Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, and oh, my camera's... Something's wrong. What are we doing? Something's wrong, right? Maybe not. Do I just go full-size camera now? Is that what I do? I have all these blinds showing and everything? I guess I haven't even noticed that. I used to have a bunch of stuff on the screen, and I've been playing with my scenes for Twitch, and because I've got something new today, and I guess I hadn't noticed that it looked like that. So good morning, everybody. It is LJ's got a little wake and bake to start with. All right, you do your thing, man. It's a little hot in here today. We're gonna lose the hoodie for now. Right? I feel like I used to have a frame, didn't I? Let's see. I feel like, I mean, we've got this view, right? This is my laptop with all the stuff. But maybe I just do this. This just seems to be... I don't see another scene that I would have used, so this must be what I was using before. I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is great. Good morning, Hawk 2000. LJ will be back before 11. Awesome. Apparently I'm advertising Jeep today. I didn't realize that when I put the shirt on that I'd be showing it so boldly. Alright, so yesterday we kind of got wrapped up with some things with APL that didn't work the way we wanted them to. But so let's get back at it. Hawk 2000 just got his Echo Dot. That's so cool. Let's talk about the giveaways for a second, because obviously there's still a decent sized stack, and you're only seeing about half of it. This my hand right now, which you can't even see, is the halfway point of the stack. So there's plenty more below my hand than there are above my hand. Anyway, I purchased the postage to send out devices to our most recent winners. One of them was Startup in India, and one of them was our winner yesterday, which I'm blanking on the name, but it's going to France. Just so you guys know, it costs about $40 to send one internationally. That's about what it costs. So I need to figure out a way. I think I have to find a way to restrict the giveaway stuff to the United States, because that's a lot to spend on postage just to send an Echo Dot someplace. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm not going to restrict it yet. We'll figure it out. But I just want to let you guys know, like, it's a whole lot of money, and it's going to take a long time, right, to send it to India. I know when I sent stuff to Karthik, it took it like 3 months for him to finally get it. I don't know why it takes 3 months, but it did. So, yeah. So anyway, what I wanted to do this morning was actually get right into working on the skill. And so I hadn't even gotten my developer window open. Let's do that first. And we got to figure out what we're doing wrong with our cards. I think it's... Something is different between what I'm passing in and what my cards think they should be. But I'd really like to solve that here this morning. That's my goal, is to be able to have the cards appear appropriately. So if I say open Chatsino, this part should work. I say that and then it won't. There we go.
Welcome to the Chatsino. You are on a 2-day streak. I just gave you 50 bonus coins. You currently have 19,299 coins available. What would you like to do?
What would I like to do? I would like to bet 5 on poker, please.
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you.
Karthik, good morning.
You wagered 5 coins. You were dealt Jack of Hearts, 10 of Diamonds, 9 of Spades, 5 of Diamonds, and 3 of Spades. Which cards do you want to hold?
Okay, so we're still in a place where this is broken. So I want to get us back to where it's not broken. And that's if we look at our poker JSON, instead of symbol, if I change this to value and restart my service, this should work. So now if I say bet 5 on poker, we should see 4 of the cards.
Oops.
And we do.
You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you.
Stop talking. Okay, so yeah, so that that works, right? But the jack doesn't work. And the reason for that is if we look at our values here, when I look at this temp array that I've created, the first slot is the jack, and you can see that I am using the ID, which is 11. So I'm really torn on this because what I want to use is the symbol. But the symbol isn't coming through for whatever reason. So let's try one other thing. What if we go to our S3 bucket, this is the one I want. To log out, click here. Fine, you're going to make me do it all over again anyway. Do that. S3. And inside S3, I have a folder called Jeff Blankenberg Alexa. And in there, I have Chatsino. TeamView, you're killing me. Art, cards, and I have all these cards. So let's go down to our jack. This one. And let's change it to... I don't want to change it to that. I really want to be able to use the jack instead of an 11. Like let me show you what I think is going to work here. If I rename this to the 11 of hearts, and then we come back here. Let me say this again. The jack should show up this time, I would expect. Yeah. So the lazy part of me says, well, then just rename your images 11, 12, and 13. 11, 12, 13, and 14, right? That's the jack, queen, king, and ace. Because I have these ID values that I use for those. But that doesn't make my list of images very readable, especially if somebody else wanted to go in and find the right image. They would be looking for the jack of hearts, not the 11 of hearts. Humans are the cause of all of life's problems. I just want you guys to know that. If I didn't care about other humans and how they might interact with my stuff, this would be a lot easier. So, Ruyans, I totally agree. Everything is a people problem. I actually just gave a talk on this called People. And it's a whole talk about how we can solve problems for people so that they can spend more of their time doing productive things rather than worrying about silly things like when their rent is due. Your rent's always due at the same time, and you always need to be able to pay that bill. But it doesn't seem like that's something that should ever take up any mental space in your head ever. You should just know that there is something that's going to take care of that for you. And of course, you would get alerts and alarms if for some reason you don't have enough money. And it might even be able to solve problems for you, like, where's that money going to come from? Am I going to have to pull something out of my savings or sell something that might be in my stock portfolio, whatever it is. Or maybe it's just going to say, oh my gosh, you need to shut it down. No more fast food, no more pizzas. Like, you need to preserve your money to be able to pay your rent. Because pizza's not terribly important if you don't have a place to deliver it to, right? Anyway, lots of truth bombs this morning. So this is the struggle that I'm having right now. And I feel like if we look at the code that I'm writing here, I have this path. All I'm saying is value of suit. And up here, I have these values that I pass in. A value of suit. So what I'm trying to do instead is pass in this new thing called symbol. That's also a string. And when we look at what happens here, I bind some data. I take my value.symbol to lowercase, and I pass that in. Now, this seems like it should work. The problem I'm having right now is that it's not working even slightly, and I don't have a way to debug it. I don't have a way to see the URLs that are being created because this is all data binding wizardry. So what I need to be confident in is the kind of data that I'm passing in, and that is getting applied appropriately. I wonder if we could do... If we look at our values here, J, Q, King, and A. And I'm in the right, I'm not in .ask, so I'm in the right code base. I'm in value. Oh, you know what? It might be the issue. It could actually be a data preservation issue. Because, like, I create this deck of cards and I do all this stuff, but let's go look at the Airtable data. And because when I save a deck, I actually save all the JSON that I created in the deck. And so this might actually be the issue. And if that's the case, then it is solved, just not for this specific hand. So if we look at video poker, so we look at the most recent one. No, see, it is right. The value of that card, symbol J. I don't know if you guys can read that very well, but the value of that card is the symbol J. That's what I expect it to be. I was worried that maybe I had preserved some old data. If you look at older hand, no, I guess I've always done that. Karthik, I totally understand. I'm glad you're here, man. But enjoy your dinner. Okay, so that for sure is our symbol, J. So we would be looking at item 0 dot value dot symbol. And what am I referring to in code? Item 0 dot value dot symbol. So it feels like it's passing it inappropriately. So then when we look at our APL, we take that data and we drop it into a URL, which is here somewhere, this, art cards value, but I want this to be symbol of suit. And the symbols should be this list: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace. So if I get a J, if we look at this, it should be J underscore of underscore hearts. And those are both passed in as lowercase. Looking at this, the suit name and the value symbol are both lowercase. So why don't those URLs resolve? I can't see what URLs it's trying to go to. I wish that I could. The second one, because this is an integer, line 63. Oh, because I just haven't gotten around to that one yet. I'm only focused on this one that's the Jack. The rest of them are supposed to be working. I'll add it to this. It's a great question, Ruyans. You're keeping me from problems in the future. I'll add those. But right now, my current data set that I'm working with, only the first item is a Jack. So let's redo that and talk to our skill again and say bet 5 on poker. They're all going to fail now. And that's the thing that really confuses me, because they should work. But I can't see. Well, okay, so we gotta slap some debugging on here somehow. So if I say data sources, we could even do it right here. Let's just do this. That way we can churn through all this stuff. Take all of that just like that. And we'll just console log this down here too, just so we have an easy way to refer to this thing. Okay. So let's run this one more time. This time we're going to hit a breakpoint. So we should be able to inspect here a little bit and see exactly what's going on. So we hit that, and over here, breakpoint, cool. So we should be able to say result 0 dot, no. 0, stop it. Result. Zero. Value. Symbol is J. Let's try one more thing, which is const val equals. This way we can see exactly what the value is without trying to churn through all of that. Okay. It's probably going to fail here, but we'll see. I know it took too long. Let's try again. Bet 5 on poker. We're going to get no cards. Get our breakpoint, and our val. What? Zero. Dot value. Dot symbol. What? Why isn't that coming through as a value? So it's not even grabbing it. Let's take this off. Try it again. We're going to get down to this. So it seems like it's not having a reference to that value. We need to figure out what could be going wrong here. So bet 5 on poker. Hit my breakpoint. Result. Dot result. 0. What? Why isn't this getting anything? Result.result 4 suit name, all of that works. This thing has all the values, but when I put an index on it for some reason, now it has nothing. No, it is getting something. I can see my J right here. So if I am getting my J, and okay, let's take this one step. So we have result.result.value.symbol. We'll take this, put it back in here. And then we'll also do a const st, which is suit. And for this one, we're going to make these zeros. For this one, we're going to do suit.name. Okay. So again, we put our breakpoint there. We can run this. It's probably going to fail, which is fine. Open it again. And now we're going to get to the part where it doesn't want to play at all. Oh, no, we are there. Okay. So let's try restarting the service. Make sure we're getting all the right stuff. That looks fresh and new. We're even going to clear this so that there's nothing in this box until I make my request. We're going to refresh this page. So much can go wrong. Open Chatsino. You can see I got a request. That's great. And then we're going to say bet 5 on poker. And we're going to hit our breakpoint. And we do. That's J. That's hearts. Those are the values that I'm passing in. J and hearts. And I should be able to say val.to lowercase. And I can see that that would become J. This is all glorious. But if I run it, if I let it go, you can see that my URLs are not getting created. So our next step is to go into poker.json here, take our path, this, and let's construct our URL out here. Console.log. And we're going to call this val, I guess, and this is suit. So this should create my URL for that image. So again, we will ask it to bet 5 on poker. We hit our breakpoint. And I don't see it. Clear. This needs to be to lowercase, as it should be. This should just open the casino, bring the volume back. Beautiful. Bet 5 on poker. Sorry, what? We hit our breakpoint, and now I can see this URL. So, J of hearts.
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you. You wagered 5 coins. You were dealt Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 9 of spades, 5 of diamonds, and 3 of spades. Which cards do you want to hold?
I want to bet 5 on poker, please. See our requests come in. And now we can say J of hearts PNG. So this feels like...
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you. You wagered 5 coins. You were dealt Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds,
is this really...
9 of spades, 5 of diamonds, and 3 of spades. Which cards do you want to hold?
Actions. Could this really just be make public is my problem? They were public before, but it seems like make public, and then one more thing we can look at is I had that 11. Where did that 11 go? This needs to change back to Jack. So let's rename it back to the Jack of Hearts. Save. And this URL should resolve. And now it does. Okay, so why don't you resolve when I run my application, please?
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you. You wagered
What?
5 coins. You were dealt Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 9 of spades, 5 of diamonds, and 3 of spades. Which cards do you want to hold?
So I'm creating this URL right here. This is what I copied out of my JSON. If we look at this URL, and I just paste this right here, this, copy, paste, it resolves to the jack, and I should be able to do this with any of them, right? Jack or queen. What? Are they not named appropriately? I think I didn't go through and rename all of them. But that certainly shouldn't matter for the numbers. Those should all work. If I come in here and I say, instead of Queen of Hearts, I say 9 of Hearts, that works just fine. Oh my goodness, this is impossible to debug. So, we're gonna we don't need to save all these as values now. We're just gonna take this, because we'll be able to see them. We're gonna do that, and we're gonna do this. And that's 0. We'll take all of this and just comment it out. And then we're gonna take this piece 5 times. 1, 2, come on, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now I should be writing out those same URLs that I would be using in my APL. And so if we come over to the dev console and we say bet5 on poker, I'm hitting my breakpoint, but I'm ending up with these: 10 of diamonds, 9 of spades, 5 of diamonds. And if I take this URL into my browser, that looks like the 5 of diamonds to me. Can you guys confirm for me? I just want to make sure it's not like some weird permissions issue. Can you guys get to that image? Does that image exist for you? Ruyan says yes. So what gives? Q311, good morning. Hello. I don't know. I don't know at all why when I'm passing in a symbol, well, it's not just the 2 lowercase. So let's take a look at this. What I'm changing is this. I'm using this symbol. So I want you to see when I construct my deck of cards, which is this, these are the objects that I create. So I have an array of things that look like these. And you can see that if I look at my data, you can see that I have like suit and value. This becomes one entry in my array. So I have the suit property, I have the value property, and then I have a held property that's either true or false. And that's each card that you have in your hand. I also have the entire rest of the deck, but that doesn't have a held property because you don't hold cards that are in the deck. So these 5 cards are in an array, and they are held or not held. That's it. So what I do is I take all of these things and I create a deck of cards, and then I deal you out 5 cards, and then those 5 cards are held here in this result that comes back. And so if I look at the, no, not outcome. If I look at result, these are the 5 cards that are in my hand. And if I look at 0, I can see that held is false, suit is hearts, and I have a few properties of it, and then I have value, and I have a few properties of it, right? This is an ID that I use for sorting. This is the actual name of the cards for when I need to say it, and then I have a symbol for when I just want to visually represent it. If I go into PokerJSON, this is the thing that actually renders my data, you can see that I am passing in 4 values. Suit, value, is held, and this new one, symbol. When I construct my URL to decide which image should be shown, I'm using symbol. If I change this to value, which again, if we look back here, value, let's make sure I get this right. Value is the ID. This is the actual integer value that I use for sorting and a number of other things. And if I pass that in, if I pass that into the skill, it can find my images no problem. Open Chatsino. Maybe. Did I screw everything up? Restart it. Refresh it. So, open the Chatsino. This should just go. Bet 5 on poker. We hit my breakpoint. And if I just run this...
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker.
That my 4 numbered cards work just fine.
You wagered 5 coins.
I'm passing in an
integer. You
integer.
Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 9 of spades, 5 of diamonds, and 3 of spades. Which cards do you want to hold?
So again, these 4 show up because I have cards actually named that. You can see in here that for aces and face cards, I have like J of hearts, Jack of clubs. I need to rename these to something. I'm just trying to decide what I should use. I'm very quickly leaning towards 11, 12, 13, 14 because I know that will work. But it feels broken. Anyway, so you can see that the URLs that I'm constructing here in my actual code, where did we go? Bet 5 on poker. I've made 0 progress in 33 minutes. Terrible. So we can see right here that it's creating the appropriate URLs. Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 9 of spades. But for whatever reason, when I pass this data through to the APL, it's not using this appropriately. And so it's got to be something about how I'm passing it in. I'm going to try getting rid of these quotes and see if that is my issue. Actually don't need any of this. Let's just try doing it like that. Although I don't really know why that would help me. I'm trying to think of any silly reason about something that's different. Let's save that. Let this play through, although it's probably already failed. Restart my service and get back into the casino. That hit, that's great. Bet 5 on poker. Hit my breakpoint, sure.
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you.
I didn't change the binding.
You wagered 5 coins. You were dealt Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 9 of spades, 5 of diamonds, and 3 of spades.
Cool.
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you.
And now nothing
You wagered
works.
5 coins. You were dealt Jack of hearts, 10 of diamonds, 9 of spades, 5 of diamonds, and 3 of spades. Which cards do you want to hold?
I don't understand how I'm supposed to debug this. How do I know what image source it's actually trying to go to? I don't have a way to output this. Yes, I do. No, I don't. I'm just seeing my actual template. LJ, I think Baker is. I think that's what you meant by Barker, but I think Baker will be our starting quarterback for a while. I think he's very sufficient. We just have had some off weeks, but I think he'll be okay. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to see. So I have my values coming through. Hearts, diamonds, spades. There's nothing different between my value and my symbol. So why do you think it is that it doesn't want to use that? My other concern is that it's potentially a reserved word. I don't know why it would be, but let's try instead of symbol, let's do something like Jeff. Something that's almost certainly not a reserved word. And then in here, we'll say instead of symbol, we'll call it Jeff. And then in our URL builder, let's see if naming the variable Jeff makes it any better. I'm going to be angry if this is the case.
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker
Well, that
waiting
didn't
for
really
you.
solve anything for me.
You wagered
So
5 coins. You were dealt Jack of Hearts, 10 of Diamonds, 9 of Spades, 5 of Diamonds, and 3 of Spades. Which cards do you want to hold?
So that's the data that I'm passing in. I don't understand why that's not working. I have this URL thing up here somewhere. And I'm passing in Jeff of suit. No, you can't see the source. This isn't web-based, so there's no way for me to like right-click on this. I don't. Well, I mean, I'll try, but I don't think I can do that. Find Jeff.
You are currently holding the Jack of Hearts. You are about to drop the 10 of Diamonds, 9 of Spades, 5 of Diamonds, and 3 of Spades. You can say deal to finish this hand, or you can continue holding cards. What would you like to do? What now?
Okay, actually, this was a brilliant call. So, Ruyan's asked, can I inspect the source of the simulator? I didn't think that I could. And we can see that right here, the value for that card is not coming through for any of them. Thank you, Gold Zulu. So, I just lost my inspection. Let's go back to that. Where did it go? So, for some reason, the value itself is not coming in for any of them. That's crazy. Why? Why would that not come through? I'm very clearly passing that data in, because we can see it right here in the simulator. If I come over here and we turn on the skill IO, well, let's do it again. Bet 5 on poker. We can see right here somewhere the values that I'm passing in. So they definitely exist. And if I look at my code that's doing it, it's all pokerdata.cards, and then I have an array of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Poker data cards array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's another place I need to do it. This is just fundamentally flawed logic for me. Okay. So inside my poker JSON, I thought I was mapping directly from that place to this place, and I'm not. Down here I have a place where I bind all these things together. Guess what's not here? This is just a fundamental misunderstanding of how APL works. So we're going to go back to calling this symbol. Pokerdata.cards 0 dot symbol. Oh, that makes me so mad. Okay, so that goes here. Whoop. No, what? No, it's right here. I think I have the closing. Oh, I see what you mean. This one. Thank you. Ruions is awesome. Thank you for the help. All right. No. Comma. Enter. No. Enter. 2. Comma. 3. Comma. 4. Okay, that part is saved. Down here, in the up here at the top, we now need to change this back to symbol, S-I-M-B-O-L. In here, we need to change these Jeffs to S-Y-M-B-O-L. I could not figure out why it wasn't coming through, and that is why. Okay, so now I don't even think I need these. I'm confident that this will work, and this makes me super happy that I was able to figure this out, because I've basically been fighting against this like an idiot for an hour between this morning and yesterday. And it all came down to how APL works. Bet 5 on poker. Give me that jack. Give me all those pretty images. Go. What? Well, let's do a little inspect. Oh, I know it. It's probably caching. Let's restart this. And do this again. Really don't need this anymore. Still not caching. We're still getting no value. I don't think that I am, but let's check. Ha! Goodness. Symbol. I thought I got all the places. Ruyans, I need you to come over and just stand over my shoulder and solve all of these problems for me, man. This is awesome to have you here this morning. Bet 5 on poker. Show me some cards. Yes. Okay. We have our cards. If we click on them, like if I click on the 10, it should be held now. And you can see that I got the held. Now I haven't fixed the other file. This is the held interface, which is exactly the same. So I have some more work to do, but at its core, we're pretty good. So now I should be able to take the stuff that's in start poker intent, really just this part, from here to here, copy that, put it in poker hold also, because I have the same structure, which adds in our symbol. Actually, it's already there, but it's not lowercase. Now, restart the service, and now if I try to like hold this card, we should see the cards, or not. Bet 5 on poker. Why aren't you working now? We have our special guest showing up here in 10 minutes. Super excited to do a little bit of an interview on here today. So let's open the casino, and it'll work, because that's what it does. Nice. Bet 5 on poker. Look at all those broken images.
Oops. You already have an active game of video
there's our
poker waiting
images.
for you.
So now if I hold
You
this
wagered
jack...
5 coins. You were dealt Jack of Hearts, 10 of Diamonds, 9 of... You are currently holding the 9 of Spades. You are about to drop the Jack of Hearts, 10 of Diamonds, 5 of Diamonds, and 3 of Spades. You can say deal to finish this hand, or you can continue holding cards. What would you like to do? What now?
What is different about these? I didn't even hit my breakpoint on that one, so why? No content.
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker. You are currently holding the Jack of Hearts, and 9 of Spades. You are about to drop the 10 of Diamonds, 5 of Diamonds, and 3 of Spades. You can say deal to finish this hand, or you can continue holding cards. What would you like to do? What now?
How did you never hit the breakpoint? Anyway, I mean, I know the problem. I can see right here it's pumping these errors out for me. So I can see that these images are not hitting. We're not getting that value to come through. But it's the same code. I'm still pointing to poker.json, which this has been corrected. This is all solved. So that should all work. So when it shouldn't matter which file I call it from. All I do is send in this array of values. And we should be all set. Let me check and see where my guest is. All right. Well, what I can do for the next 9 minutes, at least, is focus on this interface.
Oops. You already have an active game of video poker waiting for you.
Okay, stop. So the other piece that I need to do here is we need to rename some images. And this is maybe the worst interface for doing this ever. So when you see this, you can see that I can come in and I want to rename this file, for example. Can't do it by right-clicking. I just get browser controls. If I click on it, I don't get an interface that allows me to change the name. I don't think. No, see, I have the name here, but I can't edit it. I don't see anywhere in any of these properties where I can name it. So I have to go back. This is something I was fighting with yesterday. I have to go back to this and come into like the ace one, whatever this ace of diamonds. Then I can choose actions, rename, and change this to an A. I have to do that individually for each card. That is awful. Rename. We'll just do the aces for now, but we got to go through all aces, kings, queens, whatever. I don't have a local of these actually, or QE311. No local. Let's see, we have aces, we have jacks. We'll do that. We'll finish the jacks, and then we are going to get our awesome guest, Danny Thompson, to join us here on the stream. And I didn't do a fantastic job of creating a sweet background or anything. I'm going to use that swirly thing that you see when we start. So you guys let me know if that's too much when we get into it, and I can turn it off or something. Actions, rename. Boop, boop, boop. And then we'll do the others later. Excuse me. Jack of spades, the last one we'll do for now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got the jacks and the aces done. We'll have to do the kings and queens in a bit. So I'll leave that tab open. But in the meantime, let's jump back to this view for just a second. So I'm going to do a little introduction, and then we're going to get right into having Danny Thompson. So I'm going to dial him in. And I'm going to put my headphones on so I can hear him. How about that? Danny, are you there? Nothing, man. You are not on screen, and I don't think anyone can hear you yet. So I just wanted to prepare you for that. But I'm just getting ready to go live. So we've got a good, decent crew of folks here. And we are now going to go to a new scene that I just created that everyone's probably going to hate, called Split. Oh, actually, I got to check one thing first. Oh, there you look so good. Oh, all right. And then we just do this, and like this. And now we have my audio. Now I need to figure out how to get your audio through here. So let's see if we just take audio input. I don't know why they can't hear. So you guys can all hear me. I got to get Danny in here, add a new source. Let's just call this desktop audio. Sorry for the technical difficulties, Danny. And we're going to use none of those. Okay. How do I get... You guys can still hear me, right? Can you talk, Danny? All right, and one more time. No, we're not getting any audio from you. Just me echoed. Okay, we can solve this. We are smart people that know how to do things. And for whatever reason, I'm just having some failures this morning. Let's try... I think I know what it might be, but let's try this. And I see your audio is fine there. I wonder what else I can do to get your audio. Audio. Oh, I'm still echoing? On my own? Yeah. Well, this was supposed to go really smoothly, and it's not. What else? I mean, I should be able to bring your audio right in. Window capture. Streamlabs, yeah. Not yet. I was a moment ago, and it wasn't working. That is also not working. So let's try. Audio input capture seems like it should be the winner. Color, media source, none of those others really. But audio input capture wasn't getting me anything. Let's try this one more time. Audio input capture, and I want to choose the audio input from the desktop, but it won't let me do that. So if I just do that, give me some audio. No. That's just capturing more of my microphone. Wow. Let's see. We'll just do this. Does display capture come through with audio too? Here we go. This might do it. Audio. How about now? Give me some audio. Danny, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I think we can hear you now too. Awesome.
It's some audio.
That is it. Everybody says it's working. Let's start over. That was an awful beginning, but I'm so glad that we've got it now. So good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited. You know, I always say if you're doing a live demo and something doesn't go wrong, you didn't really do a
That's
live demo.
true. That's true. It was too
So,
well rehearsed or not dangerous enough, right? Like if I just want to show a div on a web page, I could probably do that safely without worrying about it blowing up. But we're not taking any
yeah.
risks otherwise. They say there's a little delay. That's something else I can play with, I think. But for now, I think we're just going to let it be. I don't want to blow anything up. Okay, so let me give my little background on what I know of you, and then I want you to fill in literally all the holes for me. So I have been following you on Twitter for months. You have this incredibly positive energy that I see all the time. You're encouraging. You have enthusiasm, and it sounds like you have a really interesting background on how you got into software development. So before we get too deep into that, as I mentioned to you briefly yesterday, that I want to be able to ask you a couple of silly questions first. I think it helps people get a feel for your personality a little bit, and we can dig a little deeper into who is Danny Thompson, right? Which is something I really like to uncover for people. So my first question for you is, if you could pick any superpower you've ever seen or heard of, but just one, you can't be Superman, that's a bunch of powers. I just want one superpower. Which one would you pick and why?
So I've got two answers to this, and this is such a random question. You're right, but the the one would honestly be to instill empathy or compassion into people. I feel like as humans, and especially in today's society, we've gotten past that idea of helping others or caring for others. And we've gotten into this mindset of if it doesn't benefit me, I don't care who it benefits.
Right.
But if I had to choose like a traditional superpower, it'd probably be, flying, because I mean, how else are you going to impress all the chicks besides taking a look in the sky, right?
That's true. Superman did have that move. That worked pretty well
Yeah.
for him. I will tell you, I was on a stream, so I do a bunch of interview style things with a bunch of people related to Alexa. So people inside the team, people that work on like the science and the research behind it, and people that are doing awesome stuff with Alexa. And I interviewed one of our scientists that works on the AI for Alexa, and I asked him this question, and he said flight would be his answer if he wasn't so grounded in realism. And I said, well, what does that mean? And his answer was, flight's awesome, but you're not going to be able to go much faster than a car before your skin peels off. And you don't get a second superpower that would make your skin protect you. So you'd just be cruising along at like maybe 60, 70 miles an hour, but that's with goggles, like, you can't really go maybe 100. You think about how fast you go out of an airplane, I think terminal velocity for a human body is like 125 miles an hour. But you're not...
I mean, we can go slow and slow. We don't need to go super fast all
Right,
the
but
time, right? I'm fine. Time can wait on me, I don't need to be in a
That's
rush.
true. That's true. But I think sometimes people think about flight as a hurry. Like, I can get anywhere, anytime, as fast as I want. But maybe that's more like a time travel move. I don't know.
Well, you know what I find interesting about flight, and I think about this a lot. Like, as humans, like we always wanted this idea of we want to go further than what's allowed, right? Like, think about how crazy it was to like be laying on the ground one day and be staring at the sky and be like, you know what? I belong up there. And then someone who didn't have the qualifications ended up creating the very first projectile that allowed us to fly. But because of that craziness, because of that idea of like, I'm not going to be put inside this random box that humans believe, now we can fly everywhere in the world. But because of that idea, we were able to push the envelope a little bit further and say, you know what? We believe heaven is up there. I want to go see it. And then we went into the universe and we realized there's planets and stars and all these things that we can experience we went into territory that wasn't allowed. Now we're on this thing of where we found possible water on the moon and we're finding stuff on Mars. Like, because of crazy ideas, we can uncover new life, like new possibilities, endless thought. That's what really intrigues me the most.
That is an incredible perspective on that. To think that really a lot of people just wanted to go up to see, whatever their religious beliefs suggested was up there. But realistically, we found space and planets and all sorts of other stuff. Let me ask you a question. Do you enjoy, a little milk with your cereal in the morning?
With cereal, yeah, but traditionally I'm not a milk person. Like, my son he drinks milk like people
Right.
breathe. But for me, I'm not a milk
Because
person.
when you started
But
talking about the idea of where flight has taken us, it reminded me of a really
Mhm.
interesting thing that, like, who was the first person to be like, you see that animal over there? I'm going to drink what comes out of that. Like, what? That sounds...
What was he doing?
And
Yeah.
now we use that for everything, right? It seems perfectly normal to just like, yeah, I need a gallon of milk. But it's crazy to
Yeah.
think about. Somebody at one point was like, I'm going to be the first person to try that. Uh,
Yeah, I'm sure milk wasn't on his mind. It was something else, but
Sure. Okay, so I have one more question that we'll ask, and then we'll move on to getting to know you, because I'm really interested to do that. So the second question is, and I got to tell you a little story here, and then you can pick your answer out of that. So I want you to imagine you're walking in a big city. By the way, where do you live?
Memphis,
Memphis. I
Tennessee.
love Memphis. I've been there several times.
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but I've been in Memphis since 2008. Absolutely loving all the good things that we're
Yeah.
doing here, and I truly am excited for what we're going to
Cool.
make happen.
Yeah, there's a really good community of software people there. I'm happy to hear that you're in Memphis. That's cool. So here's my question. I want you to imagine you're walking through. You said you're from Brooklyn originally? Okay, so imagine you're
Yep.
walking through Brooklyn or Manhattan or even like downtown Memphis, big city, and you need to cut through a couple of buildings. So there's an alley, right? But it's really not much wider than you are, and you just decide, I'm just going to cut down this alley. And as you get about halfway down the alley, at the end you're heading towards, emerges a giant horse-sized duck, like a big duck, right?
Okay.
And you're like, nope. And you turn around and you start to go the other direction, only to see that at that end there was 100 duck-sized horses. So little tiny horses, right? Maybe this big. You need to get out of this alley. Both ends look aggressive, and you gotta get out. Which end do you choose, and why?
First off, I want to point out one thing that you said in this question. You said the alley is not much bigger than I am. What is that? A fat joke?
No. I should
said
have said we are. I should have said we are. We are.
No, I've been, I've thought about this question several times, and I'm going for the 100 duck-sized horses, because I'll just kick those suckers out the way, and like I'll kick them. I'll grill some if I have to. I'm big. I'll eat meat, so I'll grill some, and
Ooh, I mean, you're in Memphis. You probably
But
there's probably a good
absolutely.
barbecue sauce for tiny horses.
Yeah, we'll get some, we'll definitely
Ooh.
barbecue some tiny
Well,
horses.
when this travel opens up, I'm coming down. I gotta find your favorite barbecue place down there. We're gonna go. It's too good. What do you have a spot?
We definitely got some good barbecue. Yeah, so there's a couple of excuse me. I don't have the Rona. I just decided to be stupid and try to work outside with the t-shirt when the temperature drops like
Ooh.
30 degrees. But we're good. But no, actually, over here we have a couple tourist spots like Central Barbecue and Rendezvous that you'll see on like pretty much any travel blog. But there are definitely a lot of spots that most tourists
Sure.
don't go to, but Memphians
I want the
go
dirty
to.
shack
One
that's
would
like
be
in a
called
weird
Thompson.
corner of the city. That's the one I want.
Mhm. So, commissary, it's a place that is so good that if you go there around dinner time, there is literally a line of people waiting to get in. And it's because when they built this place like 30 years ago, I guess it was, they built it like 5 seats. Like there's no seating inside. So you literally have to wait to get the food, but the food is that good that you're willing to wait outside in a line. And like even their parking lot can fit like 6 cars, but it's that good that you'll park somewhere else.
Park and walk.
There.
That sounds like the winner to me, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love their food. And there's another place called One and Only Barbecue. Their sauce is so good that they sell bottles of it. And my mother, she lives in Michigan, and when she was visiting, she grabbed like 9 bottles and took it back. And when she was done with it, she's like, "Hey, can you send some more? Like it's so good that you use it on stuff that's not barbecue. Like you'll use it on like hamburgers and spaghetti. And whatever else you want to use it on. It's that
so I'm on a weird, crazy diet where I can't have any sugar or any flour, which eliminates almost anything good. Certainly, whatever you just sipped there, I probably can't have. But just to clarify, like I was a Red Bull a morning kind of person, and I dropped it all, and in like we're at like 50 days now. I'm down 25 pounds. So thank you.
Good
It feels
job.
pretty good. But man, the idea of a barbecue sauce, which is just like rich with like molasses or sugar. Oh God, I would do some awful things for a bottle of good barbecue sauce. My plan is to only.
Well, I'm only drinking this because I was gonna say I'm only drinking this because I was stayed up literally all night on a stream for the election results, and then when we realized the election wasn't coming out, I slept like 3 hours and then had to work all day. Like I'm still just recovering from that. I'm not my young self when I was in my 20s was like, sleep 2 hours and
Right.
then go for 3 days
Right.
straight.
Totally.
Right? Like no,
That's I'm with you, man. I've not slept the last couple of days very much at all. Anyway, so I was getting to your background. I was talking about what I've seen of you on Twitter, and I was like, I need to know more about this guy. So give me your story, because I know I've read your pinned tweet. Like you said, you used to work in like gas stations and stuff. How do you make the switch from whatever your educational background is to gas stations to developer to like Twitter impresario? Like, I mean, you're doing it, man. I would love to know. Give me your story. I want to hear it.
Right. So, for those that don't know, I have a PhD in frying chicken. You know, I fried chicken for over 10 years in a gas station. If you want to put on some weight, I'm the guy that'll help you do it. You know, I cook the best chicken there is. I cook chicken so good to make your tongue want to slap your brain. It's that good, right? And I was at the age of 30, and I said, you know, I'm working over 80, 90 hours a week, and I'm just making enough money to still be broke. I'm making enough money to where I look at my paycheck and I'm still depressed. Sure. I'm making enough money to where when I look at my son, I'm saying, this is the best that I can do. But I knew I was lying. I knew there was more there. And it was at this time where I said, okay, I'm at a fork in the road. If I go right, I'm going to work in this gas station until the day I die. And if I go left, I'm going to make a change, and I don't know what it is. It has to be now. And it was at this time that I saw this interview with this rapper. This rapper invested several $1 million into a tech company. And this blew my mind. I'm like, why is a rapper getting involved in tech? And he's being interviewed for this. And he said, I'm learning how to code. Now this, like, blew me away. Because my perception at that time was the only people in tech were the rocket scientists and the PhDs of the world. No average individual worked in this field. And so he's learning how to code. Now, obviously, a rapper with millions of dollars is not learning how to code because he wants to become a developer at Amazon, sure. Right? So it's like, what are you doing here? And the reasoning was profound. He said, why wouldn't you want to know how the thing that you touch 90% out of your day operates? Like, why is the limitations of my mind opening YouTube.com and watching cat videos, right? Like, why don't I know why this laptop costs $2,800 or my smartphone costs $1,500? What is RAM? What is Snapdragon? It's all buzzwords until you put something behind it. But, like, I look at it like my body, right? Like, I have a basic understanding of my body. Either A, if I'm sick, I know, I'm not going to make it. I need to go see a doctor. Or B, I could ride this out, I'll drink some Robitussin, and I'll be A-okay, right? Or if my car makes a weird sound, I know, I got to take this to a specialist. Like, this isn't normal. Why don't I have the same understanding with my computer? When it's broken, my only solution is go to Best Buy, pay X amount of dollars. I don't know why it's broken. And then they're going to just tell me to buy something new, right? Why don't I know more? So he starts learning how to code, and so do I. And I go to freecodecamp.org, and I start learning. And then I hear about something called meetups. And I look in Memphis, and surely there's a meetup there. And at this time, I know like HTML and CSS, and I make like a really like small application where you can enter the URL of an image, and it returns that image with some coloring on top. It's like a really, really bad.
No, it's still awesome
right?
though.
Like it's bad. Well, you know, it's safe to say at this point in my life I could cure cancer with code, right? I'm that good. But I was terrible. But I walk in this meetup, and like I feel when I walk in, like, okay, the world begins and ends at JavaScript. There's nothing past this because I don't know anything past that. And it was in that moment where I realized I don't know stuff. I don't know anything, all right? People are literally saying, like, foreign languages to me, like Java, SQL, and C#, and, like, I don't know any of this means, but now I'm like, this is a brand new breadth of knowledge that I didn't know existed that I've now been introduced to. And I said, okay, I want to learn this stuff. I want to get involved. But I instantly realized that I'm being excluded from the conversation. And I said, I will never be excluded again. And I go home and I start studying more and more, and I start learning about JavaScript and ES6 function. I go to that next minute, like, well, do you know what the error function is? Do you know how to do this in ES6? And I start going home, I start learning more and more, and I start learning about SQL. And I go to that next minute, like, do you know what a SQL table is? Do you know how to do a SQL query? And now I start learning more and more, and I learn about Java, and I go to that next minute, and I say, well, do you know what Spring Framework is? Do you know how to do this? And now I'm introduced and included in this amazing community of developers that just want to help as many people as they can. And my naivety said I'm excluded, when in reality, I just had nothing to bring to the table. I didn't know anything. So by learning more, I was included more and more. I started making friends. And in doing so, I did the one thing that everyone does when they go to a meetup that doesn't have a job in tech, and they say, how do you get that first job in tech? And I heard the exact same answer over and over and over again, like a broken record. Oh, man, that first job, whoo, that's the hardest one. But if you get the first job, every job after that will become easy. To someone like me, that was the worst thing you could ever tell me in my life. Because not only did you demotivate and demoralize me, it made me question what I've been doing for the last 6 months. You've given me 0 action items to work on. I have no way to get from A to B, from X to Y. I got nowhere to go. So I instantly created a LinkedIn profile. Mind you, I'm still working at the gas station frying chicken. And I said, I realized something. I said, there's all these hiring managers on here, right? All these recruiters and all that. They're working at Fortune 500 companies and all these things. And I realized the chances of them walking to my gas station are 0. I will never be in a room with them. So if they say no, I will never meet this person in real life. So let them say no and on to the next one. There's 7 billion people on this planet. I just need one to fall in love with me and give me the job of my dreams. So I start cold calling and cold messaging hiring managers and recruiters. And then I also realized something. Other people that were at that meetup were asking the same question, getting the same answer. So I said, okay, I got to figure out a way to help everybody. And so I started working with people to try and get them a job in tech. And I remember I helped the first person get their first job in tech. And I remember in that moment, I was with him literally when he got the offer letter, right? He was so happy that tears were welling up in his eyes, right? And I realized in that moment, nothing mattered more to him than making this dream that he's been chasing for 18 months come to reality, right? Nothing mattered more in that moment, but nothing mattered more to me in that moment besides helping him reach that dream. And so I helped one person, from 1 became 10, 10 became 20, 20 became 40, 40's become over 70 people I've helped in the Memphis area land their first jobs in tech, and I've helped hundreds.
So what was your first job? How did you end up landing in a gig?
I'm glad it worked out because I'm a very stubborn individual, right? So I turned down 6 jobs in tech before accepting my first job. I had multiple offers come in, and it was, everybody wanted experience and a degree, and I had neither. And I realized something, that I could control the interview the way I wanted, and I could help teach other developers that are trying to get that job how to control the interview as well. And it increases your odds of actually landing that job and getting an offer of the value that you think you're bringing to the table, right? So for me, I started basically reaching out to people that worked at the companies that I wanted. Memphis is a very heavy C# town, but the companies that I wanted all use Java and Angular. And there's only like 10 companies in Memphis that use Java and Angular. So I ended up learning Java and Angular because the companies I wanted to work at were using them. And I'm glad it worked out, because this is a rags to riches story. Otherwise, it'd be rags to rags, right? Like, it's probably not the smartest thing to only learn the thing that only 10 companies in your area know. But for me, it's the path I wanted. And here's the thing. I'm already depressed working at this gas station, right? I don't want to trade one depression for another depression, right? I wanted exactly what I saw in my mind. And it was a situation of, I want sugar, so I'm not going to take Splenda, right? I want the real deal, and I want exactly what I want. And so I spent, time learning what they wanted. I created relationships. And I remember my theory is I don't like filling out job applications. And so what I'll do instead is I'll look for the person that's in HR that posted that job, and I'll DM them, and I'll be like, hey, I saw that you posted this job. Here are 3 reasons why I think you and I need to have a conversation, A, B, and C. Look forward to hearing from you. They'll respond like, that's interesting. We need to set up a call. Boom, I just made it into interview 1. And so that's exactly how I've gotten all the offers I've gotten, because if you compare me on paper to the average individual, we're the same, and there's nothing that makes me stand out. But if you compare me in an interview, especially after everything that I've learned through failure, I've been able to set up these opportunities to where I can dictate what I want and what I'll
That's
get paid.
amazing, man. I would say that my origin story is not that different from yours. I mean, getting my first tech job was I don't know if it was easier. I have a college degree. I went and got a degree in psychology, not applicable at all to computer science. And
Right.
when I got out of school, I tried being a social worker. That was the path, but eventually I wanted to get like PhD. I wanted to be a psychologist, help people that way. That's always been something that I'm good at, and it's something that I still see myself doing a lot with my friends and acquaintances and things all the time. But it wasn't paying the bills, right? To be a social worker in Cleveland, Ohio, in the late '90s, I was making 21,000, right? Like it was low. Like I almost felt like they didn't value me there at all for that amount of money. And I found a company, again, looking through like the classifieds in the newspaper, that was looking for a webmaster. And I applied and somehow got the job, probably because I was willing to work for so cheap. And I was like you. I knew HTML, I knew CSS, I knew a little JavaScript, and I learned everything else while I was there, building stuff, going whatever. And that, like you said, I've only sent out resumes one other time in my career, and I've had a dozen jobs. It's all about the networking and getting to know people and connecting. And the thing that really helped my career take off was exactly what you're describing, which is going to meetups, building relationships with people. And I think that's really hard for a lot of people in our industry. You've probably met thousands of developers at this point in your career. 98% of them are incredibly introverted. They don't want or value relationships, even casual relationships. They don't have to be your best friend, but they're people you know and you can connect with. And that entire thing is how I've springboarded this, right? Went to meetups, started speaking at them. I was like, hey, I did this cool thing at work. I'm going to see if anybody wants to hear about it. Gave a talk, got to know some people that worked at Microsoft, and they were like, man, I like your style. Would you potentially want to just do that all the time? And I was like, what are you talking about? They go, we got these evangelist roles. We want you to come over, talk about the tech you're talking about, do it on our behalf. We'll pay you to go do that all the time. Play with all the latest and greatest, and then tell people how it works. Blew my mind. I didn't even think it was a career path for a software developer. I figured I'm just going to build and build and build, and we'll just go. And so that started in 2007 is when I started with them, and I did that for like 9 years. And I was like, man, I want to get back to tech. I went and did a startup for a year, and then after the startup crashed and burned, as they do, that was right when Alexa came out, and I was like, ooh, man, that's some hot tech. I want to go check that out. So I called some people that I knew at Amazon. I was like, connect me with the right people. Let's figure this out. Talked to one guy. They flew me out to Seattle a couple weeks later, and now I work on the Alexa team. Been here 4 years. But I think it's similar in that, like, I mean, I had one step up, I guess, in that I had a college degree, but I really didn't have any experience when I started, and it wasn't until I really dove into the community and got to know people and connect that things really started to grow and take off for me. I could ask questions. I had people to lean on, and they could lean on me as well. So that's an awesome story. And so how long have you been, well, let's back up. You said you were 30, still making the best chicken, which I'm now going to hold you to letting me try at some point. But how old are you now? 30. So this is a 3-year journey. And
well, it took me 8 months to go from learning HTML to landing my first job, and then I've been promoted 3 times since, and I'm still at the same company. But just I got my first promotion literally 2 months in, because they hired me as a junior developer and instantly saw that I was absorbing everything. And now to get the next promotion, I literally spearheaded an entire job at work where we were running the business, but we're rewriting our entire code base. So I was literally the only person. I was a one-man team doing run the business work, as the rest of the team was learning this new tech. And everything that we did was in Java and Angular, and now we're rewriting everything into React and Go. So now I'm learning React and Go, and what's better than learning something and getting paid for it, right?
And that's programming. Every day you're going to learn something. It's just about whether you pursue it.
95% of my job, I was going to say 95% of my job is literally saying, I know nothing about this. It is time to learn this, why this is breaking, and then fixing it. And
I completely agree. All right. So you've been a dev for about 3 years, 3-ish years. Can you share what company you work for?
I don't share that online right now, and I'll tell you why. I let it for a while. I had it on my LinkedIn profile, and I guess weird people online saw that and then started contacting my
Uh,
job. And they were in the beginning like, oh, this is cool. This is we get it. You're getting popular online. People are weird. But it got to the point where even my boss was like, we're gonna let you go if we can't stop these phone
whoa.
calls.
Got it. Got
So
it. Let's back off of
yeah,
that subject then. That's no good.
people were literally like, yeah, people were literally like, oh, you hired Danny who had no experience. I have no experience. Hire me. Hire me. And I'm like, okay, like this is not the way this should
Right.
be headed down. But if I ever work for like a bigger company like Amazon, I have no problem throwing that on there. I'm sure Amazon can deal with
Right.
that
I don't even know
accordingly.
what number people would call Amazon.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So, okay, so we won't get too deep into that, but you're in Memphis. Have you been in some of the .NET circles there? Like you said, C Sharp and stuff is very popular there. I like to think I'm partially responsible for that. Those 9 years I spent at Microsoft, my entire focus was Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee, setting up user groups, building conferences, doing all of that kind of stuff to grow the community there. It wasn't me exclusively. I had a team of 4 people that I worked with, but Tennessee I was in quite often. Memphis, Nashville, Chattanooga. There's a couple of great conferences that happen in Chattanooga. Have you been to events like Codestock? Are you familiar with that one? I,
So I haven't been to that event in particular, but I now lead the largest developer group in the entire Memphis area. When I started going to meetups in Memphis, there was like the same 5 or 10
yep.
people would show up, right? Like it wasn't big here because we're not a big tech city yet. We're working on things and we're trying to make things happen. But like seriously, all the meetups were the same 5 or 10 people. They talk about the same stuff. They just hang out. Really, it was just an excuse for those 5 or 10 people to
Sure.
hang out. And so to give you like a point of comparison, the very last meetup that we did in March before COVID locked everything down, we had almost 250 people there. So like we are the largest group period now, and for everyone that's in the chat, also you are more than welcome. I'm running the second conference that we ever did, a major tech conference in Memphis, but this one is called the Southern Dev Fest, and we're leveraging communities from Texas to North Carolina to
Awesome.
Florida and every state in between. And it is just to show like, hey, there is amazing tech everywhere in America, but the South has some amazing
For
developers
sure.
as well. You don't need to just think of California, New York, as places to go to. We have viable
I fight
developers
the same
here,
battle here in Ohio. People are like,
but
Ohio? What are you programming cows? You know?
yeah, yeah. But no, I mean, we've got some truly phenomenal talent here. But we've got developers. We have some from Amazon. We've got some from, like Nader Dabbit and Ali Spidel are going to be there. They're both on the
Nice.
AWS team. And so we've got some developers all over talking about subjects. We've got a little bit of something for everybody, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned developer. If you want to learn about TensorFlow, we got a
Wow.
speaker on that. You want to learn about PWAs, we got stuff on that. It's just like a buffet
That's
of
cool. When
tech.
is it?
So my goal with that is
Oh
this
my gosh, that's
Saturday.
awesome.
Yeah. So this is the second one. The very first tech conference we ever did in Memphis was the Memphis Dev Fest, and we had 3,000 people attend, and it was during COVID. So I mean, it was always my dream to put on a conference, and I'm glad that I was able to do that. With literally 4 weeks of lead time, we had 3,000 people
Wow.
show up. So that's awesome. And this one, we got some truly, truly, truly like incredible people, and especially all of the people that were able to come and like support as like other communities. That's phenomenal. Like it's hard enough trying to get one community to support something, but now that you've got communities in several states
Right.
supporting it, like that's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to that. And you are all welcome. Any event that I ever do is 100% free. I never charge. We have sponsors that we try to leverage to
Yeah.
cover the
No,
cost as opposed to
that's cool.
spending.
So I actually run an event here in Columbus called Stir Trek. We hold it in a movie theater. It's about
Awesome.
we 2,300 people, but that's like a physical in-person event. And we had to pass this year. It was in May, and that was too soon into COVID to really try to do anything. But we're looking at right now. We're looking at what we're going to do next May. It's going to be virtual, and it's almost certainly going to have to be free. But I'm in the same boat. Like we've got some fantastic sponsors that really help cover the costs of doing something cool. Please keep me on the list if you're ever looking for speakers or somebody to come help or get engaged with the events you're running, man. I'm in. Like, let me know how I can help in any way.
Absolutely.
All right, so I want to go back to this journey that you've been on. You said you've helped over 70 people find jobs. Are those all in the Memphis area?
So there's two numbers. So 70 is the ones that I've always considered, and I always say over 70 people, because those are people that I literally help land the interview, coach them through the interview, like explain how they need to like showcase themselves and like things like that. So like it's hands-on. I was involved. But I can tell you off the messages I get alone, like it's several hundred people all over the world. For example, I helped one lady, her name is Karen. I just got this message literally like I think it was Monday. And she was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. And she just landed her first job in tech in Israel because of my LinkedIn series that is on my YouTube series. YouTube channel. I have a LinkedIn series that has helped thousands of people literally like get noticed, get interviews. And these are people that have this qualifications to land jobs. Like I was talking to one person, he's like, I've been looking for 6 years, can't land a job in tech. And I'm like, well, let's check out your LinkedIn profile. And it was terrible. Check out your portfolio, it was terrible. And I'm like, for 6 years, I'd expect something phenomenal to be there. So we worked on that, boom, he's getting interviews now. Like there are opportunities that people have the skills for, they just don't know like how to stop opportunity from walking in front of them. All you got to do is put your hand out and stop that opportunity from walking by. And my LinkedIn series is just teaching you how to raise your hand.
I think you'll probably agree with me, but I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this. My experience right now is that there are so many tech jobs that if you can spell HTML, you might get hired. You don't need a ton of qualifications. They're looking for junior developers. But I mean, my LinkedIn is not very active, right? I mean, I have my job history and all this stuff that's important on there. But I'm not regularly posting on my LinkedIn or doing anything there for social media. And we're going to talk about social media here in a little bit. But I get, I don't know, 7 to 10 job opportunities that show up in my inbox because of my LinkedIn profile a week.
Yeah, your experience in particular is incredible, and that will dictate a lot for you, right? So you don't have to actively put yourself out there to pop up in searches. But the problem is if your profile really isn't set up to be searchable, like I can't tell you how many profiles I've seen that are just terrible where it won't even land in a search. Like you're missing keywords, you're missing a lot of stuff. You don't have your job title there. Like a lot of times companies give you some random job title that they think sounds awesome, but this is not a job title people search. Like if they put you as software, HTML developing architect, like that's not something someone's searching for. But if you type in software developer, you're going to end up in a search that way, right? So I think a lot of that comes to the words people are using, if they're not even using the right thing. Like I can't tell you how many profiles I've seen that, and I've seen thousands now, that are just not optimized to land a job.
No, I mean, there are unfortunately places where like your job title is actually like front-end ninja. Right, which is fun and interesting, but that's not the thing you should put on your LinkedIn or your resume.
No, you should use.
Yeah, I agree. I guess it really comes down to search engine optimization, right? Think about what people are going to be typing and optimize for that. Don't optimize for the clever ninja words, which are fun if you're showing somebody it. Yeah, they called me a ninja at my job. That's great, but nobody else is going to call you a ninja, so you should be prepared.
Yeah, I just found you on LinkedIn. Your profile is not that bad at all. I like your about. It's nice, short, and sweet. And I can't tell you how many people put like a biography in their about section. You know, one thing I'll say, the average hiring manager or recruiter, they only spend 6 to 10 seconds before deciding if I'm going to invest more time into this profile or this resume. So you need all your information very easy and accessible, and yours is doing just that. So like you're doing a lot of the things that I would advise people to do automatically.
Well, that's really good news. I like, again, LinkedIn doesn't provide a value for me that is finding jobs. When I want a job, I can just call a company and say, I'm really interested in doing something like this. Sometimes the role doesn't even exist, right? But I've connected enough. I know enough people that work enough places to be able to say, I'm really interested in working for you guys. Let's talk. And my history and my background dictate that I probably am worth having a conversation with, I think. That's about as high as you'll ever see me value myself, but that's something I think that I've done pretty well. But I think for a lot of people that are getting started, that are curious about how am I going to find my first job, or man, I don't have a college degree. I just had someone on my channel yesterday ask me, like, I'm about to go to college. I'm going to Amherst College. Should I get a computer science degree? Sure. The answer I always give, and I'd love your perspective on this too, is a computer science degree will certainly give you a lot of fundamentals. But if you just want to be a developer for your entire career, that's what you want to do, build stuff, you don't even really need to go to college. If you have the skills and the knowledge, I think the thing that the college degree keeps you from potentially, and this is even still very wishy-washy, is the opportunity to do more, to become management, to run the company, or get involved in higher level roles. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but I think sometimes not having a college degree restricts you. So I'd love your thoughts on that.
So I will never ever say, don't get a degree, don't go to college. But I will say it is absolutely possible to get to your dream in tech without that piece of paper. I don't want someone to be like, oh, Danny said no college. That's it for me. I'm dropping out.
Right.
I think there is definitely some value in going to college. You'll make some great connections there. You'll have a good experience. And it's a good life experience. But if you think, here's the God's honest truth. People graduate from college and then have to spend 6 months learning how to code. Like, college is not teaching you how to code. It's teaching great fundamentals. You're learning a lot about, like, maybe an industry, and you're getting to touch on various subjects. And I'm sure someone that goes to college relatively in life may have more intelligence than the average person that worked in a meatpacking industry, right? But with that being said, that piece of paper is not dictating your ability to land a job. What's doing that is your skill set. I say this all the time, right? I don't care about money. Money comes and goes. Millionaires lose money all the time. I'll give you money. You want my clothes? I'll give you the clothes off my back. I don't care about that. Your skills are your ATM. Increase your skill set and they will produce for you. But if you don't increase your skills and you're trying to work in things that are besides your main objective, and then you're like, well, this isn't working for me. Well, yeah, you're not doing what you need to be doing. Like, if you're like, I want to be a Java developer and you're learning about JavaScript, that's not the same thing, right? Like, you need to focus and you need to be laser focused. Stop being distracted by it. Stop shiny object syndrome, right? Like, stop looking at, oh, here's a new framework, here's Vue, here's Dino just came out. Be laser focused until you get where you want to be, and then you can start learning about everything. But keep that focus exactly where you want to go.
No, I think that's very true. I think that that's something that I've focused early on in my career that I need to keep adding to the tool belt, right? I was a front-end developer first, and then I was like, these guys are doing a bunch of cool stuff with data and SQL. I should know how to do that too. And so I started building back-end systems. I started being able to persist data, and that unlocked now I'm full stack, right? Now I can go build an awesome front end that consumes a bunch of data in the back end. I don't need anybody else. I can do it all myself. And I think that independence is what really drove me to be able to grow my tool chain. But it's something that I talk with my kids about all the time too. Like I have a 13-year-old son. If he had it his way, he would have one skill, and that's the ability to snipe people on the Xbox. Like, that's the only skill he's interested in accomplishing, because that's his currency right now as a 13-year-old, is when he plays with his friends. Yeah. If he's not good, he's not cool. You need to be able to hang, and if you can't hang, you're not cool, and like that's the social circle mentality. But eventually, he's going to need to be able to do more. And so we're working on like building his first PC right now, just to get him into the tech a little bit. I've had him build some basic coding stuff, right? My daughter is 17, well, almost 17, and she's taken 2 computer science AP classes in high school. Like, she digs this stuff, and she's pushing it on her own. But the thing that I keep reiterating to them is, like, all you want to do is grow your skills. Think about all the things you didn't used to be good at. She's an ice skater. You weren't good at ice skating when you started. It's because you're spending all this time and energy in practicing that you're now fantastic. You're not naturally an amazing ice skater. No one is. It's not until you put a lot of time and energy into trying and refining your skills. So I think that's an incredible message for people, that you have to value your skills.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? Like, that's a really good point, because so for me, I'll say there are a ton of developers in tech that have degrees in English and literature, and I mean, nothing to do with tech, right? So it doesn't even matter that you're learning, something related to tech as a tech degree, because you can absolutely land a job in tech without it. And so some people are like, well, you're learning data structures or whatever else in university. Well, if you're getting an English degree, you're not learning that, and you're still extremely valuable in this field, right? But the other thing I'll say is I go to a lot of prisons, and I speak with prisoners that are learning how to code, and I've helped programs that are teaching prisoners how to code. And one of the biggest things that we've seen is prisoners that learn how to code, their recidivism rate, or the return rate to prison, drops to almost zero. They don't reoffend. And it's a case of giving a man a fish versus teaching him to
Mm-hmm.
fish, right? If you teach him to fish, he can provide for himself for the rest of his life. But the thing is, when you give someone a tangible set of skills that they can use to produce something, they have an opportunity. But not only that, here's one thing that I say all the time and why I think everyone should learn to code, whether they want to become a developer or not. You are learning a very unique set of skills to problem solve. I don't care what industry you're in, you can apply that. So let's say you're a prisoner that learns how to code, you can't get a job because no one wants to hire you, you can't get freelance clients, whatever it may be, and you go back to construction. When I used to work in construction, we had to tear down the wall, you just start hitting the wall, right? But now you may go on, well, what if this is attached to a load bearing wall? What if I hit it in this corner? Will it come down a little bit easier? Let me do less work now and solve this. And now instead of just becoming a back that a construction company wants to use, you've become a mind that where now you can become a foreman. Now you can do other things that are applicable to that industry where you didn't have the ability to before. You're learning things and you're learning a problem solving set of skills because we approach problems differently. Like you'll see a programmer, the way they break down a problem is so different than if you walk up to an average individual. I think that's what separates us. And it's because of the way we have to do that for
Yeah.
our job, but it applies to all
It
of
does.
life.
It does very much. And my wife and I are very different in that way. She's creative. She's a graphic designer. And there's times where I approach a problem and she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Trust me. We'll go step A, step B, we're done. The path you're taking me on includes like 9 letters. Let's skip a lot of that stuff, right?" And it's not to take away from her approach. It's that I can see the straight line to the solution because I've done problems like this in so many different ways, so many different times. And that's what software development really is to me, is unique problem solving. If we were all just coding against problems that were all solved, we wouldn't have jobs. Like software would be easy to write. We could have robots writing all of the code. It's because we need to solve a unique problem every single time that's ideally never been solved before. That's where all of our value comes from. That's what programming is. It's not typing. It's not knowing a programming language. It's being able to problem solve. I think that's awesome that you have that perspective too.
Thank you.
All right, so the other thing that I wanted to get into, we still have we have 15 minutes, is you also tout on your Twitter a little bit that you're really good at Twitter, and based on your stats, you certainly seem to be. I've never been one that energetically goes after a following or anything like that. I mean, I have a decent following on Twitter, but it's nothing substantial. Talk to me about that. I'd love some insights from you on how you view Twitter, how you grow it, how you work with it, what the value is for you, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So I started Twitter in March. I had like 300 followers. I'm really anti-social media, if I'm going to be honest with you. And the only social media that I ever used was LinkedIn because I was using it to help people get jobs. And I didn't care about Twitter. I didn't care about Instagram, none of that stuff. I don't care about it. And it wasn't until I was at a meetup, and it was March, right before COVID hit, where someone showed me, like, there are popular people in the tech industry sharing ideas on Twitter. And I was like, oh, this is something that now has, in my opinion, tangible value that it didn't have before. So I started looking on Twitter, and I realized, like, for all intents and purposes, like, it's a toxic place. Like, there's so much negativity on that platform. But I realized something. I said, there's nothing for, like, when I was learning how to code, like, people like me that I'm looking for inspiration or ideas or, like, just that, we all as humans, we hit a hard point where, like, man, life is hard because life is hard. And it's like, no one talks about that. Everyone, I've noticed this all the time. People flex on Twitter like, oh, man, look at this bag I just bought. Look at this new tech I got. Like, all these expensive things. But that you're alienating a good portion of the population that can't afford these things. Where are the people that are like, man, I paid my light bill on time with no late fee. My phone bill didn't get cut off. Where is that? Where's that conversation? Why don't people promote positive ideas? So for me, I just naturally think as humans that we just don't have enough of that. And so I really just started tweeting, and I was like, I'm having a conversation with myself. And I'm talking to myself when I was learning how to code, just saying the things that I wanted to hear. And if people want to gravitate to that, awesome. I love it. Welcome for the ride. But if they don't, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to jump in my car, right? And here's the honest to God truth. Like I'm at like 51,000 followers now in like 6 months. I hit 30,000 followers in 90 days, right? The follower count can go to 0 tomorrow, and I genuinely
Sure.
wouldn't care. I don't care about the follower count. It's cool that it's a metric to show me like these are people that are getting help. They're changing their lives. Like I get messages every single day that say, your words hit me in a way that I never thought it could hit me. Like I was depressed, and now I'm like I have a plan of action. I go speak at these companies. I speak at Fortune 500 companies. I speak at boot camps. I speak at like junior developer groups, and they're like, I literally lost hope on this industry, and because you came and spoke, I now have a new action plan that I'm
That's
working
awesome.
on to try and make this dream happen. Like there are people that tell me all the time, like, "Oh man, I literally was like, I gave up and I went back to work at a restaurant, and now I feel like, okay, I can do this." And a tweet costs nothing. If you're telling me everyone has the potential to positively affect someone in a way that changes their life by literally using 280 characters, why not do it? And so I put it out there. I put out a lot of tips, and I don't charge for any of this. I honestly don't. And here's the thing: like the success of my LinkedIn course alone, like I could charge hundreds of dollars and just put up the testimonials, and I know I would get, and I'd probably get more views on it charging for it than giving it out for free. But the God's honest truth is, I just want people to change their lives. Like it took a rapper for me to change my life. What do I need to say? Like, that's why I talk so much. Who am I coming across that just needed to hear that to realize, oh, there's a path from here? Even if it's not for tech, sometimes people just need to know that there's a path that they can go down for them to change their lives. And so why not share that with the world? And I know, like, my Twitter is going to blow up. But again, if it goes to 0, I don't care. I'm going to say the exact same things I was saying before. I'm a big believer in your preparation will make way for your destination. Meaning, when I was at 300 followers, I was tweeting the same things that I'm tweeting now. And at that time, people were like, what do you think? You're some big shot? You think you're some big speaker? You think you're saying something that's going to change the lives of people? And then at 10,000 followers, people are like, oh, there might be something here. And they're like, oh, you're so profound. It's the same thing, man. I'm saying the same thing at 300. But I'm saying
haters are going to hate, right? That's where you're at.
One thing I realized is, especially with social media, that everyone gets a voice, including the people you would ignore in real life. And the problem is we just can't ignore them in real life. So every reply doesn't require a reply. Meaning, just because you reply something negative doesn't mean I have to acknowledge you. You're entitled to say whatever you want. I just don't need to follow whatever you're saying.
And actually, replying to that stuff only encourages more of it. So, yeah, I'm the same way. I certainly don't have 50,000 followers, but I have enough where like anything I tweet, I'm going to get a handful, maybe a dozen replies that are mostly positive, and certainly a few that are like, come on, man, what, like, you wasted your own time to say that? Okay.
Honestly, you know what I realize is some people thrive and excel off of being negative. Like, here's the thing, it's not that they're like just this toxic person. I think a lot of it derives from they're not happy with their job, they're not happy with their life, things are going wrong, and they're just getting that negative energy. And it comes down to, if I'm upset, people around me need to be upset. Like, and I relate this to, so I've done a lot of volunteer work, and I'm a big believer in volunteering. And if you're in the chat, please, take some time to volunteer. I always say, when I speak to all these companies, like, no one pays me to be there. I get paid to speak at certain places, but if I'm volunteering my time, I'm not getting paid to be there. I'm losing money theoretically, right? So if I'm losing money to speak here, I demand repayment. And the way you repay me is getting that dream job instead. Volunteering in your local community. And the thing with volunteering is homeless people aren't volunteering. People with jobs are volunteering. So by volunteering somewhere, whether it's a homeless shelter, whether it's a meetup, you're networking, you're obviously doing something better for yourself, because volunteer experience never expires. So you can talk about that on resumes, on LinkedIn profiles, whatever it may be, but you're also helping your community. What other thing in your life is a win-win-win with no loss, no downside at all? Like, you're literally doing the best thing possible and you're gaining from it. So volunteer and do all the good stuff. But like, and please, like, if you're in the chat, volunteer, whatever it is, volunteer. Even if it's the preach the good word of Jeff Blankenberg, like, volunteer, right? But like, here's what I realized is people that are like upset, depressed, and I did a lot of volunteer work at children's hospitals, and these parents, right? They're losing their child, and they're upset at the world, and like it hurts. And if you're hurting and you see someone smile, how does that make you feel? Why don't they understand that I'm losing my baby? Why don't they understand that someone is in a hospital bed today begging for the time that they have right now and they're not using it to the best of that? They're watching Friends while this person is dying. Why aren't you using this
Right.
time? If I'm hurting, why aren't you hurting the way I'm
Yeah.
hurting, right? Like, God, how am I going to pay these bills and how am I going to do this? And they don't feel what I feel. So when you're hurting and there's like this hand on your heart squeezing it, it hurts to see someone enjoy life. So a lot of these negative people are depressed about something. And I've watched people that I've literally watched them. I know their usernames, and I check out their profile time to time, where they've posted stuff like they're hating on people, they're bringing people down, like they don't want to see someone rise up. And then one person in particular, they were unemployed for 6 months. They land this job, and now they're posting about all these restaurants they're going to and the life that they're enjoying now. It's like you were depressed in your circumstance, and because of that, you chose to bring others down. Instead of looking at your situation and trying to change it, you're hurting someone else in the process, but you don't realize. You're just saying, if I'm hurting, someone else needs to hurt.
I'm completely with you. I feel like I see this a lot, especially in the tech communities, especially in social media, where I feel like there's almost two kinds of people. I think you and I subscribe to the like, let's lift everybody up. How can I help as many people as I can? My boss asks me weekly, why are you on Twitch coding a couple hours a day, almost every day? Well, I'm going to write code anyway. And it turns out when I do it on Twitch, people tune in and they learn and they ask questions, and I'm helping. I think I'm helping. If you ask the people in the chat, they're always like, dude, I wouldn't even know how to do this stuff if I wasn't just sitting here watching you once in a while. That makes me feel so good. It makes me want to do it more. And I know that I'm lifting everybody else up, right? But I think that there's an entire group of people that I think everybody in some way compares themselves to others. And I look at myself and say, I'm doing all right. I want to get other people up to be all right where I am. But there's a lot of people that say, I see these people that are where I want to be, and they want to push them down so that they feel equivalent to them. Rather than like, I'm going to do more for myself to lift myself to whatever level I want to be at, I want to push all those people down so that I feel better about myself. And I completely agree with you. It drives me crazy when I see people in that kind of tear down mentality. When, dude, you could just, all the energy and bile and venom that you're throwing at these people, you could do exactly what Danny Thompson's describing and go improve yourself, go get some new skills, go work on yourself. And before you know it, you're going to be at that level anyway. Appreciate the bits, man. Thank you.
Had to show support, and plus I wanted to be number one, so I was like, okay, let me drop those.
Perfect. So we've only got a couple minutes left. Is there, I'm sure you have because you've given talks and all sorts of stuff. Is there like a parting thought that you can share with like something you're going to say that's going to make people want to run through a wall and go get started changing their lives or taking that next step in their career?
So one thing that I always say is, I don't care what level of developer you are, you've definitely been a victim of imposter syndrome at one level or another. I've yet to meet a developer at any level that hasn't experienced imposter syndrome. I still get it all the time. And I really got it a lot when I was trying to develop. And one thing I realized is you don't need to live up to the expectations that someone else has of you. Like, sometimes to actually get to success, you need to disappoint others. And you need to be okay with that idea. But I will also say, when I was trying to get a job, when I was learning how to code, I literally told the people I was working with at the gas station, like, oh, I'm learning how to code, man. We should totally do this. And everybody's like, whoa. That's not for people like us. That's for the smart people. And then I started really believing that. I'm glad I stuck with it because I would still be there otherwise. But I'm glad I stuck with it because I'll tell you this much. When I was going for interviews, I was like, I really doubted myself. And I'm like, okay, like, they don't want you, like they want someone that has a degree. They want a professional. They don't want someone that smells like fried chicken. Because I'd go literally from the gas station frying chicken into an interview. I change in the bathroom. But I know when I used to walk in meetups, They called me Popeyes because I smell like a goddamn chicken place, right? I'd make the whole place smell like chicken, and I'd become self-conscious of it. And I'd really be like, man, am I cut out to even be in this field? Like, I literally started leading a meetup before I was even a developer, and I had developers asking me questions
Right.
because I was so involved and I was so
That's
hooked
awesome.
on it. But I literally remember walking in these interviews, and I'd say to myself, they don't want you. They don't want someone that's frying chicken. They want a professional developer. They don't want you. Get back in the gas station. Get back to where you belong. You don't belong in an office. You're not made for this. Go back to manual labor. This is not for you. My doubts, my questions, my imposter syndrome, all my haters. I made it. I'm a software developer. I'm Danny Thompson, and I'm so glad I stuck with it. And you will absolutely make it too. The path is there. You just need to make sure you improve your skill set and get to where you want to
Man,
go.
that is... I'm ready to run through a wall. That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me today. I'm really serious about this. The moment we can start traveling, I'm finding my way to Memphis. But between now and then, let's keep in touch. If you find your way into that line of barbecue sauce you were describing, if a bottle fall in a box and finds its way to my house, I'd be okay with that. But let me know if there's anything I can ever do to support you, man. Please let me know. But I'm gonna spread the word. I'm gonna take this video. I'm gonna try and start a podcast. This might be the first episode. We'll see. But we're gonna start pushing some of this stuff out because I think this is a really important message for a lot of people. We'll never break through all of this imposter syndrome stuff. Like I said, I struggle with it every day myself. I can't believe people let me go on stage and talk in front of people, but they do, and they like it. So let's keep doing it.
Absolutely. You know, I never intended to speak like this. I was never a speaker. I'm always a quiet guy. And I know it's kind of weird now, but I've taught myself how to speak in a better way. But I ran meetups, and I got asked the same question over and over and over again. I was like, I'm tired of answering this over again. I just went to the front of the room and answered it. And at the next meetup, someone was like, well, are you going to do that talk again? I was like, what talk? I don't do talks. We always get speakers to come speak. And then they're like, no, we love that. And I was like, so now every meetup, I take 5 minutes in the beginning. It's become like a ritual where I just talk before the speaker does. But what I've realized is people listen more. But now that's why please check me out on my social media as D Thompson Dev, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, eHarmony. No, I'm kidding. My wife hates it. No, I'm not eHarmony. But also, I got my podcast, Commit Your Code, because I believe you should commit your code, but you should be committed to your code as well. So it's kind of like a play on words, but it's doing very well. And I posted on my YouTube channel the video version, and we should definitely get you on there. I think
I love it, man. Too. This is so fantastic. I'm glad we could put this together. So I want to say thank you. Now, before we end here, I always forget to do this. So we're going to go raid another channel. Now, as soon as I hit the raid button, you and I can sign off, and we'll catch up immediately after. But I want to send this crowd we've got here, I want to send them off to another channel. So we're going to send them over to a channel called Zero to Hero Dev. They currently have 7 people watching. They're about to triple their viewership. So I'm going to start this.
Zero to Hero.
I'm going to start this. Well, you can follow us along when we go there. So I'm going to start this raid. Looks like everybody's ready. And as soon as I can hit raid now, I will. There we go. So I'm going to send everybody over to Zero Hero Dev. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Danny, thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it. I'm glad that you had me.
All right, here we go. Raid in 3, 2, 1.